Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How y'all feeling? I'm doing awesome. Picked up some donuts and hot chocolate. The kids are gonna hang out by the beach, watch the sunrise, while I go ahead and take a little out and back run along the shoreline and enjoy it. Temperature and how you dress for it is a super subjective matter. Now, in our household, 45, kinda clear, meh, beach day. But how we dress for that weather, whether we're talking about running, cycling, or even swimming, right? Because God bless them. We do have the Polar Bear Club. We do have some folks that are out there in the thermal wetsuits, still getting their swim on. Hats off to you. Couldn't be me though. How you layer and how you prepare for that run, ride, swim, before, during, and after, super important. And we're going to talk about that once we finish warming up and get out for this little run and have a last pull of this coffee. Sun rising, birds chirping. That's nature's soundtrack right there. Ran out of beach, but a little closer. Get some of the waves crashing. It's a thing of beauty. Now, right away, some of you might be thinking, I thought he said it was 45 degrees out here. What are you doing with a singlet? Where did I end up over here? Comfort, especially when it comes to temperature, super duper subjective. What works for one will not work for another person. And what you're seeing here is the result of a little bit of trial and error over the years in figuring out exactly what's going to work for me. Knowing what temperature thresholds and what kind of paces work well with how many layers and which parts of my body are most sensitive to the temperature, and making sure I plan accordingly. We've got the gloves on. My hands are super sensitive to getting cold, whether that's out running, on the bike, swimming. That's always my barometer. My hands and my head. Generally, I keep them covered up. That helps me wick the sweat, but also regulate the temperature. For others, that might be your feet. And that's when you might choose either merino wool socks in the winter or go with 2 socks like I do on the really, really cold days. Now, I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't mention it's important to, one, when you're checking the weather, not just look at the overall high temp and low temp for the day. Check the time that you plan on being outside. So if that high of 60 degrees is at 2 in the afternoon, but you plan on running at 6 a.m., that doesn't do you any good. You want to make sure you know that at 6 a.m. it's actually going to be like 40 something degrees and plan accordingly for that. Second thing, check the real feel, because again, the temperature is one thing, but what's the wind chill doing? What's the humidity doing? What's the dew point? All those things factor in how you're actually gonna feel once you get out there. So don't just trust the quick overview, high and low for the day. Every time I went out for a run, for a ride, I would take that selfie. It might look like, oh, fresh drip, fit check, let's go. And behind the scenes, it was really just logging. Hey, it was 20 degrees and I wore this, that, and that, and I overheated. So next time it's 20 degrees, maybe try this. Oop, until I find the right combination, and then I stick with that. And from there, I start to build a log for myself that I can go back to, get back into the summer months, and you forget how you dressed. What did I do last time I had to be outside in these temperatures. And how did it work out? Because there is no easier way to ruin a good run, a good ride, a good day outside than being underprepared. And really that's the takeaway here. Take notes for yourself to be sure that you are prepared for the conditions so you can, 1, execute your workout, 2, stay in the appropriate heart rate zone if that's what you're training with, and 3, so that it removes the elements from the conditions. It's already hard enough to stay consistent with your training. We don't want to fight the weather on top of that. So being prepared and having that log and choosing the right layers. And there are tons of guides out there. I generally try to tell folks to use the 10-degree rule. So always plan to dress for 10 degrees warmer than the weather is saying, because we are running after all and working up a sweat. So as long as you're moving, you're gonna be generating some heat. So it's real easy when you just look at that thermometer and you think, oh my gosh, it's cold, and you dress for 20 degrees, then you start running, and then you have to start stripping off your layers, your jacket. What do I do with my hat now? Happens more often than you'd believe. So just being that little bit prepared, that's a good guide. And cycling, same thing, but also indoor training is a thing. So you can take the weather out of it completely. But wow, while we're here, my goodness. My goodness. I think I see the littles right there enjoying the sunrise. I'm gonna loop back around, catch up with them, and wrap it up. Woo! Warmed up a little bit, yeah?
I'm moving you.
The stark difference in comfort in the temperatures. It's very subjective. Do whatever works for you. Keep track of it, and you'll be comfortable, hopefully, in whatever situation you need to be out running, riding, swimming in. That's all for today. Thanks for joining us. I'll link that video over here where we talk about indoor training. Till next time, it's been real.